What's up, Bills Mafia? It's week 10. It's Randy. I'm here by myself, running solo for a little bit. Zach's going to show up in a little bit. But I think that we just needed some me time, some viewer and Randy time, some listener and Randy time to kind of process what happened on Sunday. I don't have much to add to what has been flying around in social media circles about the offensive line. It was bad. It was really, really bad. Specifically, the interior of the offensive line was atrocious. And the Bills knew it. I mean, Sean McDermott today during his Tuesday presser said, we had some conversations and we know that we need to be better in the offensive line specifically. The videos out there are pretty plain and obvious. When you see your center and two guards blocking one player and you have a free runner coming right up the middle at Allen, that is not ideal. And it's not something that I think we've been used to seeing for quite some time. Actually, I have thought for the most part this season that Allen has had a lot of time, almost too much. Sometimes he's sitting back in the pocket and I'm just saying, just throw the ball. This game was not that case though. What happened is our offensive line got manhandled. They could not control the Jaguars defensive line, which, to be fair, we knew the Jaguars had a good defensive line. And I can't help but think back to the Pittsburgh Steelers game week 1. This felt eerily similar, especially up the middle with pressure. So I do think there is something to be said as far as concerns with this Bills team, with the interior line. I think Morse is fine. I don't think Mitch Morse is the problem. I do think our guard play has been really bad, and we're missing Wyatt Teller. We haven't really addressed that in the draft. We haven't really addressed the position for a bit. So I was banging the drum this offseason for the Bills to go after some offensive line talent, and they took a few in the later rounds. Spencer Brown looks like he may be a very good pickup. Unfortunately, he's hurt, and availability matters in this league, as we saw. You had a Jaguars team that I think was playing the nobody believes in us card, right? As Bills fans, we're familiar. We've played that card a million times, and sometimes it works out. Sometimes it works out great. You have a team like the Bills coming in. Everyone picked us, right? Nobody thought the Bills were going to lose to the Jaguars. I picked us. Zach picked us. Everybody picked us. And they didn't get the job done. So having a couple days to sit on it has helped me process it, kind of get through it a little bit. But I mean, I'm sitting here Tuesday and I'm still mad. I am still mad. I'm mad at our team. I'm mad at the gameplay, but most importantly, I'm mad at the lack of coaching and the failure to realize during the week that our offensive line needed some shakeups, perhaps. Maybe we needed to put a depth starter in there besides Cody Ford. Hopefully, I would like to think Sean McDermott they see these guys every day. I know Sal Capaccio says this all the time. Sean McDermott sees these guys every day. He knows who his best players are. He's going to hopefully put what he believes to be the best combination of guys on the field. But McDermott's made some questionable calls with the offensive line in the past. Last year, you had the Arizona game where he benched Mitch Morse. Not sure why. Morse was not playing very well in that season. So I do want to give some explanation. I think the reasoning behind it was Morse wasn't playing really well, and maybe Sean McDermott was concerned about him not being fully ready to come back from a concussion he had before that. But man, some offensive line decisions in this game that blew my mind. And that resulted in something that I want to talk about, which is man-to-man coverage. The Jaguars made a coaching adjustment very early on. They saw that they were getting pressure with 4 up the middle. And smartly, Urban Meyer, as much as I hate him, as much as we had a "Where's your girlfriend" chant at our bar, which was a hilarious chant if you were at Al's, this weekend. It was great. That part was great. The game, not so much, but our chant game is on point. But Urban Meyer saw that they were getting pressure up the gut, and he said, I'm going to put, well, maybe not him. Let's not give him all the credit. Maybe the defensive coordinator said, I'm going to start doing man coverage, because one of the things about if you can get pressure up the middle, if you're getting to the quarterback within 3 seconds, 2 seconds, then you can play man even against Josh Allen and someone who's not a quarterback that typically you want to play man against, because it's going to force him to hold the ball for just that extra second, and the pressure is going to get there. I mean, Josh Allen was manhandled. Did he make some careless mistakes? Absolutely. Did this game remind me of the early Chiefs of this season? Absolutely. They played too high man safety shell the whole game, it felt like, and we refused to take the underneath stuff. And I get it in the moment. You know the Jaguars' pass defense was not good. They're not a good pass defense, but you got to take what the team's given you, and that's something that I'm hoping to see Dable kind of change up as he comes into this next matchup against the Jets, who the Jets are a bad football team, but let's be honest. I mean, the Jets beat the Titans somehow. I know it's week to week, and again, that might be maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's every team needs to have that bad loss, right? Or that doesn't need to have it, but maybe that's what this team needed, was a kick in the ass to say, get off your rear ends, stop being complacent, stop acting like we've won the division. Don't act like the AFC East is locked up. You got the Patriots a half game behind now. And if the Patriots win this division for another year, I will be miserable. I will be miserable. Even if the Bills make the playoffs in a wild card spot and the Patriots win the AFC East, that would make me really livid. I'm sick of seeing that franchise. I'm sick of seeing that franchise win anything. Anybody. If the Dolphins were to win the AFC East this year, which is not going to happen, I would have been much happier with the Dolphins winning the AFC East. Not happy. I mean, that's a relative term. That's a relative happiness, right? To the Patriots winning. But that's kind of where my head's at right now. I don't want to see the Patriots win. And I think the first thing that I started thinking about on my drive home from the bar was the Patriots. And I said, I wonder what the Patriots are doing. And I looked at their scores when I got to my house, and I said, they're sneaking up on us. So that's where my head's at, Bills Mafia. I hope you're all having a wonderful week. Besides this, I do notice that working out helped. I went to the gym on Monday, and I'm starting to work on this old double chin if you're watching on YouTube, trying to get rid of that. I did shave the mustache if you're watching on YouTube as well. I'm really hoping for some good juju from that. Shaking it up a little bit, shave the mustache off. I wore my Zuba pants last week, which are now being retired full-time. I will be a Zuba short guy from now on because my shorts have panned out much better. The Zuba pants are dead to me, so we're done with those. Zuba pants, you are dead to me. Wore my Allen jersey, and didn't work well for me. I'm not a superstitious guy, but I'm a little stitious. So I did want to make some change-ups, and I wanted to be a goldfish, guys. I tweeted out very shortly after this game a Ted Lasso gif, be a goldfish. And I think that's what we have to do as fans. But I hope the Bills aren't total goldfish. I don't want them to forget the sting of this loss, because it hurt, and I want them to go and take that pain and learn from it and grow from it. This loss felt a lot like our loss to the Houston Oilers, Houston Texans in 2017. The Bills' offense sputtered and stuttered and didn't get anything done. And from there, we grew. I mean, we came back out in 2018. We didn't make the playoffs that year, but we grew. So I'm here to. Or did we make the playoffs in 2018? I'm trying to remember. Anyways, it's not important. What is important is the New York Jets are coming up this weekend. We're going to talk about that in a little bit here. Zach's about to hop on, so I'm going to clear some air for Zach, and I want Zach to tell you what he thinks about this game, or what his thoughts are. I honestly think, like I just said, that the Bills played like the Chiefs. They refused to take what was available. They played cocky. The only difference between the Bills and the Chiefs really in that game was that the Bills have a defense. The Chiefs have no defense, and the Bills' defense showed up, and that's a shame. When you hold an opponent to 9 points with our offense, I'd expect that we'd win that game 100 times out of 100. So this was a disappointing loss, a heartbreaking loss, but I'm ready to flush it personally because as I am not on the team and I'm a fan, I get that advantage. I get to move on and go on to the Jets next week, which all of the sudden becomes a must-win. And I hate saying that there's a must-win game in Week 10 because there's 7 more weeks left of football. But it's a must-win, guys. Like it is a. If we don't beat the Jets, you have the Jets, Colts, Saints, Patriots coming up. The way that's shaking up, if you lose to the Jets, there's no guarantee you're going to beat the Colts at home. It should be a good game, I would hope. But the Colts are no scrubs. The Saints, who knows which Saints team is going to show up. The Saints have been hit and miss all year. They did just lose Jameis Winston, so that could be a factor. I'll be in New Orleans. So these are possibilities here. So I got to send this link to Zach. Give me 1 second. But it is, you got the Saints, you've got the Patriots, and the Patriots, like I said, all of a sudden, the Patriots are on our butt. They're right behind us in the standings, and I am not looking forward to that. Come on. All of a sudden, you've got a team that is right behind us in the standings, and we play them twice in 4 weeks, right, guys? So we've got the Colts, the Saints, the Patriots, and then the Buccaneers. And the Buccaneers, sorry if my internet is kind of lagging here. The Buccaneers are obviously a standard in the NFL this year. Not something I love, but it is the fact of the matter is the Buccaneers are a good team still. We thought they might fall off a little bit. That's not the case. So you could be staring. We are 5-3 right now. If we don't go through these next games, the Jets, most importantly, the Colts, second most importantly, in my opinion, just from a divisional or a conference race for even a wild card, because that's a realistic conversation we're having right now is this could be a wild card race. And then you got the Patriots twice in 4 weeks. These next 4 weeks are critical to the Bills having a successful season. So I'm really interested to see what's going to happen. Now I'm going to let Zach in on this podcast here, and I don't want to tell him what I said, so I don't know if he was listening or not. But I want to hear his initial thoughts, and I want to hear his rage. I want to feel his anger from this game because he didn't come to the Bills backer bar, which he is a new father, so I'll forgive him for that. But I want to bring Zach on here, and Zach, I'm just going to let you go right away. Give me your thoughts and feelings and opinions on this week.
All right. So this loss is squarely on Tremaine Edmunds. He needs to get this defense performing way better. I mean, come on. No, I'm just kidding. I just had to do it. No, I mean, this loss, I give a lot of this loss to Brian Daboll. I'm sorry. Like, that offensive line was terrible. And the big thing for me is after the first half, I think you need to make adjustments, and you need to realize Josh Allen has 0 time in the pocket, and you need to keep a tight end in the block. You need to keep, where's Gilliam at? Where is this guy that's in the backfield to block? You keep it Moss, you keep it Singletary in. And they were not doing that. They were sending their running backs out on routes. They were sending tight ends out on routes, and they were not keeping them in to help that terrible offensive line. So they were not helping he was not helping them succeed. On top of that, the offensive line is terrible. Cody Ford he needs to get out of the NFL. He doesn't belong. We gave him the excuse. He's not a tackle. He's a guard. No, he's not a guard either. I tell you that much. He just does not look like he belongs whatsoever. And that's something that's just really ticked me off this week is seeing Josh Allen with blood on his arm, grass stain all over his jersey. Our quarterback doesn't need to be taking shots like that. That's how we're going to get hurt. It's terrible. And then the other thing that just really upset me was not using Diggs. We didn't use him till later in the game. The last few weeks, it's like we forgot he existed. I don't know if that's play calling, or I don't know if that's Allen forgetting that he has that weapon that he can trust to go out there and make a catch, a contested catch in Stephon Diggs. He's got an alpha on the team. Use him. That's one thing I really wanted to see. I mean, he's got a lot of receivers. It seemed like for me, I'm going to critique Allen because I think there's times where he should. Definitely, he was not helped by his offensive line, but it seemed like he was going for the big play a lot of times. He was not taking what the defense was giving him. And I've also got to give credit to the Jaguars. I mean, their defense just came out to play, and they wanted this win more than us. And it's sad to have to come on here and say this.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much nailed exactly my thoughts. My primary, if I was to dish out a slice, I don't want to steal Bruce Nolan's plurality pie, but if I was to give a percentage of responsibility, yeah, I know. Whoops, Bruce Nolan, he'll have to reveal himself to sue me though, so I got that going for me. But if I was to dish out a slice of pie to I'm just gonna say the slice of pie for a pie chart, I would give the offensive line probably 60% of this loss. They were atrocious. And honestly, of that 60%, I would say Cody Ford gets 40 to 50% of it.
You know,
he was awful.
I've got to change this up a little. One thing I forgot to bring up that I think definitely screwed us more than the offensive line was the referees. Oh my God. How can you have such one-sided refereeing? We saw it even with the Rams game versus the Titans this week. I mean, it was so lopsided, and I don't understand how that happens. And this loss is not squarely on the referees, so don't take that as I'm saying that. But somebody needs to hold them liable, because if Sean McDermott comes out and says anything about it, his head is like cut off. Like he's not allowed to critique the refs, and he's going to get in trouble. But somebody needs to say it, and why not me? If you're listening, Roger Goodell, you need to find these guys. I mean, look at the play where we're going down into field goal territory on 4th down, and we go to snap the ball and they jump off sides, and it's like 1st down. He jumped. He most definitely jumped. And then our guy reacts to it, and they come out and say, "Oh yeah, false start."
The refereeing is atrocious, but I don't want to complain too much about refereeing, because the fact of the matter is, unfortunately, in the NFL, until they're going to hire full-time referees, the refereeing will continue to be atrocious.
The other issue, Randy, have you ever seen them call a penalty, then they line up to punt the football, and then all of a sudden the whistle blows and they change their mind and decide to call it on the other team, like they did with the unnecessary roughness against Trey White?
That was awful. And I mean, they got booed, and they deserve to get booed. That was the most blatant tampering with a game that I've ever seen by the refereeing crews. I'm convinced. I mean, you don't have to convince me. I've always been convinced that there is a certain level of Vegas interference in the NFL, and you got to acknowledge, with all the gambling that they're now allowing in the league, and the league kind of embracing gambling, the league has always embraced gambling. They definitely are, in some communication with Vegas. Let's be honest. There's no way some of these calls get made without New York talking to Vegas and saying, hey.
Absolutely, yes.
Now, and this whole week kind of showed that. Now, because the Bills were not the only upset. There were several other really bad upsets. The Cowboys getting blown out by the Broncos, the Saints losing to the Falcons. There were a ton of upsets.
There was a lot of money on the Bills.
And to me, this has Vegas feeling all over it to that sense. I'm not going to blame the refs entirely, though. They only have so much control over the game. The team was undisciplined. We reacted a little bit too much after those calls. We let the refs get in our head.
I will say, though, rewatching that play where they switched it, I can see where they could call Trey White on that, but I can definitely see it going the other way, too. So if you're going to blow the whistle, at least call both of them, let it offset, replay the down, third down, and give it a fair chance because they both committed the penalty. You've already called it the one way. And then how about Mitchell Trubisky getting called on the penalty? And did he get put on the active roster off of COVID in the middle of the game and get trotted out on defense? It seemed like they were getting numbers wrong all game long. They were picking up flags. It's ridiculous. I can't handle it.
The crew was awful, and what sucks is because our market was so small this week, the game was really only shown in Jacksonville and Buffalo, unless you were at a bar watching on Sunday Ticket. I think they got away with a lot more than they would have if it was a bigger market game. You would have had much more national coverage of the refereeing in this game.
And what got me going was Urban Meyer was so pissed off every time there was a penalty called against them. And I'm like, dude, look at how many yards were called against the Bills and look how many yards were called against the Jags. It is totally lopsided. It's atrocious. It makes it hard to watch the game, and the Bills made it hard to watch that game. It had the feeling of that previous Bills-Jaguars loss that we shall not talk about. It just had feelings of that, and it's unfortunate because this team is a better team than the Tyrod Taylor era. What was it, 2017 Bills? I mean, we're way better than that. I mean, we want to talk about leaps and bounds better than that team, and I think Josh Allen knows that. And as he said, excuse my language, but he said I played like shit. He knew it, and he admitted it. I mean, when you throw 2 interceptions, you fumble the ball. The other Josh Allen definitely had the better game, and we got to talk about this Manning curse because
I wasn't gonna be. I'm not a believer in curses, but what other? I mean, that is like one of the we look to find explanations for everything. But it's held up so far. Now I'm really curious. I didn't watch Monday Night Football. Were there any quarterbacks who went on Manning this week?
I didn't watch the game last night. I should have because my fantasy relied on them, but I don't think so. I think they typically take a week off of having a Manning cast. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I don't think it's obviously a curse, but the thing you got to talk about here is the nerves of a guy getting on the air who's not a commentator. He's getting on live air to talk football for the nation. And, he, let alone the time he's taken doing that, messing around, having fun. There was talks during the Super Bowl eras of the Bills of them having a little bit too much fun before the game. And it's kind of, got that same feel to it that, Allen was having fun. And yeah, you want to have fun, and that's great. But at the same time, let's focus, because right now, I can't honestly say that we're going to win the AFC East. We need to worry about the Patriots now, because if we screw up any more, that is going to be at risk. We get to play the Patriots 2 more times, so we have control of the destiny there. But if we screw up and we lose to the Jets, we're going to be talking about the possibility of being maybe the 7th seed, playing a wild card game. I mean, or missing the playoffs altogether. We need to take this serious going forward, because every team, whether or not you want to admit it, they're professionals. They show up any given Sunday. I mean, so that kind of leads us into the Jets. What's your predictions there?
Dude, I mean, I am so... At this point, I will throw out any of my predictions because I just want this team to win. I don't care if it's by 3 points or 10 points. I mean, I would prefer a blowout. I would prefer to see our team go out there pissed off, knowing that they're the better team, and just put them into the ground right from the beginning. After this week, where I thought I was going to go to the bar and have a nice stress-free week of watching football and just kind of enjoy us pounding the Jags, no, that was not at all what I got. I got much stress. My blood pressure went up. I had to work out yesterday because of it. I'm working out again tomorrow because of it. Okay, that's not the only other reason. working out's pretty good just in general. But this team, I mean, it's killing me, and it's killing me mostly because I survived 17 years of the playoff drought. I'm 32. You're a little bit younger than me. I've really never seen a successful Bills team, with the exception of the last 3 years. And really specifically, the last year was amazing. That was the most amount of success I've ever seen. I went to the AFC Championship. Amazing. And so my expectations are so high for this team, and for them to lose in the fashion that they did. For the Titans, it was acceptable. It wasn't great.
Agreed.
But the Titans are a good football team, and we barely lost to them. But to this loss, it is an unacceptable loss. It's just a bad loss.
That kind of brings me to, that Dolphins win. There for quite a while felt like a loss. I mean, we came out and we put up some garbage time points to make that a acceptable win, that we beat the spread, which sure looks great on paper, but you were getting beat by that Dolphins team at one point in that game. Whether or not it was on the scoreboard, that doesn't matter. That game felt so terrible, and I expected Josh Allen to come out ticked off about that and say, we're a better team than this. We should have beat the Dolphins by 30 points.
Yep.
But Josh Allen didn't do that. He came up and didn't put up a touchdown, and I bought a freaking bottle of liquor to take shots every time we score a touchdown. I thought I was going to be hammered against the Jags, and here I am, still sober.
Sober as a church mouse.
Yeah, I that was embarrassing, and I expect Allen to want to do the same thing. But like you said, you kind of thought that last week, and now you're sitting here saying it's the Jets. Now, granted, we play the Jets twice a year. We know what. Yes, it's a different coach, but guess what? We've played the 49ers recently as well. We know what their defensive scheme is and things of that nature. And we've got film against what they've done against divisional opponents. So you would think we have a better chance of possibly doing something. The Jags, I mean, we rarely play the Jags, and when we do, so we don't have a lot of game film on them. And Urban Meyer's flying by the seat of his pants, cheating on his wife, going down there, has no clue. He's openly come out and said, every game is like I'm playing Alabama. And then he comes out and plays freaking Missouri State Bearcats
Ouch.
in the Buffalo Bills.
Ouch.
I mean, come on. It's just embarrassing, and it really kind of hurt my feelings. It feels good to rant. I really needed a Randy rant, but I think I really needed a Zach rant. It's I have not been able to listen to a Bills podcast this week. I've really
avoided
struggled.
it. So I turned on WGR on Monday just because I'm a glutton for punishment. And I was driving to do my workout, and it honestly got me so angry that I think I ran faster. And yes, this is a test to see how many times I can drop the fact that I went to work out, Zach, just so you know.
Yeah, that's fine. So guys, also want to let you know, speaking of WGR, they've got a whiner line. We've got a crybaby line. Feel free to give us a call at any time, 816-533-5820. Give us a call. I've got access to it. Randy's eventually going to get access to it, but we can essentially answer the phone, tell you, hey, you're going to be on, we're going to record this, and we hit the record button. You guys go on your rant. We play it on the show. Because honestly, like, we see that we're getting a lot of listens and views on this, just not live. And it might be the time that we're doing this. But we still want to interact with you. So give it a call. You don't even have to identify yourself if you don't want to. If you want to remain anonymous, go for it. I mean, we want to give you the ability
from Buffalo.
We want to give you the ability to rant just like we have, because I think that honestly makes losing a little bit better when you can just let everything out and just move on to the next week.
So that being said, Jets.
You know what else also helped me move on? I went to Marshall's tonight, and there was all these Patriots stocking caps hung up on the hangers, and I covered them up with other stocking caps. Every single one of them. I am doing my due diligence to make Kansas City a little bit better. But yeah, anyway, I got to get off here.
All right.
But I think, if we want to throw out win predictions, I'm not even going to do a score prediction. The Bills don't deserve that out of me. But I'm going to tell you, we pull out this win, and it's not going to be a big win. We're going to squeak by and win single digits. But
right.
We pull off the win. What's your thought?
I'm going to say the same thing. I think we win, but I think they come out angry. I really hope they come out angry. I need
When do we get
them
Knox
to come
back?
out angry.
Is it next
Knox
week
could play
after?
this week.
Okay.
Knox, I believe, could play this week. It's
Want to talk about
questionable.
somebody we're missing? It's Dawson
Spencer
Knox.
Brown as well. Spencer Brown as well,
Oh,
because
God, we
that
need
allows
him.
Feliciano.
Get Cody Ford the hell
and
out of here.
Feliciano. Yeah,
Feliciano's
I
on
need
the
Feliciano.
IR.
Oh God, so that's 3 weeks minimum.
Yep.
So Spencer Brown,
maybe
we really
Daryl
need back.
Williams back to guard, keep Ike Bacher on the other side, and maybe we see a little bit of improvement. But I think the big thing with offensive line is we have not had any continuity this year. I know I said I had to go, but that was another point. We just didn't have continuity. It seems like we've got a different set of guys every week because of injuries or things of that nature. And before, we've seen it with shuffling Cody Ford with Naseki there in years past. And now we're seeing it just because of injuries, and these guys are not communicating well. Rick Gath, one of our favorites, he posted a picture of the Bills. 3 guys were blocking 1 guy against the Jags and left 1 guy wide open. And that's communication right there. That's what it is. They don't know how to communicate with each other because they don't play together. And so we need a little bit of continuity back. We've seen Ike Bodker play with Daryl Williams on the opposite guard before. Maybe we need some continuity there, and I really just want Spencer Brown back. And God, we're complaining about Feliciano, but I would take him back right now over Cody Ford. And so rant over. Let's go on to the Jets. Let's pound the Jets, whoop them, and move on to the week after that because I'm just over it.
All right. See you, Zach. I'll continue on for a little while. Go Bills. So anyways, I just wanted to go on and talk a little bit more about this Jets game that's coming up. I agree with a lot of what Zach said about Robert Saleh. We do know him from when he was the 49ers coach. Now, that doesn't mean that we're going to be seeing the same defense with the Jets, but it should be a similar scheme. It's hard to win in this league, and it is hard to beat divisional opponents. I really hope the Bills can win this one because if you can win the away game, it's a little bit easier to win your home game. And it's not a very long road trip. The Bills are favored, I think, the last time I checked, by 12.5 points, which I think is outrageous that Vegas is giving the Bills 12.5 points. As much as I would like them to come out and just throttle the Jets, I think if I was a betting man, I would place this to take the under. I don't think we beat them by 12.5, or 13. I think we beat them by maybe 10 points. Maybe something weird, maybe a safety. We haven't seen the McKenzie sweep yet, boys and girls, and this has made me really upset. You all know how I feel about the McKenzie sweep. I think it's pinnacle to this team. And I was hoping to see a few more trick plays in this Jags game just because I like putting some of those things on film so that you can play off them later. So putting a McKenzie sweep in with a throwback to Josh Allen or something like that. I do not want Josh Allen to catch a touchdown pass in this game because we've already discussed, or so I've heard in previous podcasts, when Josh Allen catches a touchdown, the Bills have never won. So I don't want that. As fun as it is to see in the moment, I'm a strict believer in curses right now, and I'm over it. So frankly, I don't have much more to say about this. This podcast is going to definitely run short, but hopefully listening to it got you a little bit more, made you feel a little bit better. Sorry if you heard my dog in the background or my landlord Matt's watching a St. Louis Blues game right now. But I'm pretty much done with it, guys. I'm done with the Bills losing. I love this team, and I will still watch them no matter what. Do not get me wrong. But I am going to go ahead and say Bills win this game against the Jets because they need to, because I need them to for my personal sanity. You need them to for your personal sanity. And it's time to get this out of the way and win a game and get back on track. If you're going to New Orleans, by the way, shout out to some of the people going to New Orleans. I will be there, a couple of our Kansas City Bills backers as well. So feel free to say hi if you see me, since you're watching me on YouTube. I hope that you enjoy this content. I know that I don't offer too much as far as analysis and football conversation, but really I'm just a guy who lives in Kansas City and wants to talk about the Bills with you. So thank you for staying around this long if you're still here. And as always, go Bills.